Okay, we're in for the Pocket Change Market Report for April 17, 2024. Our good old midweek edition of the PCMR is back and online for you. Thank you guys for coming on board. We're going to check and see how much these cool little errors and varieties that folks like you and I are finding out there in the wild are worth today. Surprisingly, probably one of my biggest PCMRs I've ever talked about. And I know I've said that same song and dance before, but in terms of dollar value, we have some nuclear level type of explosive coins that I've sold here. And normally we cover, some of these die varieties and mint errors, but also, we talk about the occasional key date that pops up. And the reason why that those even pop up is that they're ungraded, right? The ungraded stuff certainly is a hot topic of conversation. Should I grade something, that has a value of $1,000 or higher? Is there some kind of unwritten rule that we all have to kind of follow when it comes to coin grading? And no, not really. Long before, some of the big coin graders existed, Annex, PCGS, long before that, coins were not graded in that fashion where they were encapsulated in a plastic tomb of sorts. They were enjoyed for what they are. They were put in albums. They were, just saved up, put in these little tiny envelopes. The collectors used to write on them to signify what's in there. The game has certainly changed quite a bit. There's a huge amount of social media awareness regarding coin grading, and while that's there, and there's a lot of credence to it, I want to let each and every single one of you know that it is not necessary to grade your coins. Okay, and that we've come full circle to where I'm going to say we don't talk about graded coins on this report. Okay, if you find it, you could sell it immediately by simply taking a few photos with your smartphone, popping it on eBay, and doing it however you do it, whether it's buy it now or running a 5 or 7 day auction. Really doesn't matter. The sale will happen if you have something legit. Also, another thing to point out is that the images you're going to see here today are 100% original to each and every single one of the listings talked about. We didn't juice or doctor any of these photos to make them look better. All right, so you're going to get the best and the worst. You're going to get the well in focused, the well out of focused photos as well. Again, there's no picture of perfection here. But if you're able to capture exactly what you need to make the sale happen, rest assured, that bar is set pretty low. All right. Like I normally do at the beginning of every single one of these videos, I sell on a platform called Whatnot, kind of like a supplement to what I do on eBay. And it's like the perfect kind of tandem. I would highly encourage you guys, if you have the extraneous inventory and you want to sell on a platform and go live immediately, Whatnot is a great platform to do so. And they are looking for new sellers. But in any event, I have this kind of big promotion that has really exploded this month with such big results so far. We're halfway through the month. We're giving away 3 GSA Carson City Morgan dollars. Okay, that's the minimum floor, and then we're like slowly introducing upgrades and new stuff to the giveaways. Okay, we're not only giving away that, but we're also giving away a couple other like graded coins as well. So the way this works is for every single item that you buy, you receive an entry. We actually have a few people that are close to 100 entries for the month. It's quite remarkable. The dedication that a few people have come to find by participating in this event. The more entries in hindsight means you have a much better chance of winning one of these Carson City Morgans, which has a value at the very minimum of $350 per coin. So you could stack as many entries as you can. We're also doing a completely different giveaway event for the what I call the leaderboard giveaway. The top 10 entry getters, I guess, is what you call it. The top 10 folks with the most amount of entries get put into a separate pool, and we have 3 other prizes for that group as well. 2 shows guaranteed every week, okay? We still got like 4 or 5 shows to round out the month, so there's plenty of opportunity. The big idea is you just need 1 entry. I've seen where someone had won, something with just 1 entry. It happens all the time, and I have, no qualms in seeing it again. It just happens. So we have a Tuesday and Friday show every week. We always feature a bargain bin Tuesday show. A lot of coins in that $3 to $10 range. That's going to be a good way to stack your entry list pretty good. Even with like 4 or 5 shows remaining, plenty of opportunity for someone new to come in and, grab up a number of those. We always feature at the very least 100 items to list every single show. Like last night, we had about 130, quite a stacked list of coins, and it's a lot of fun. So this April buyer giveaway, we're halfway through. We got another couple weeks left. A nice little fast finish is in order here. And if you're looking to kind of check things out and maybe you want to participate in it, good news. I have my referral link down below in the description box. You can get yourself $15 in store credit that can be used right away. You can get some free entries into the buyer giveaway. But go ahead and sign up. Check things out. No purchase necessary, of course. Although to get into the giveaway, you do have to purchase at least 1 item. And that $15 store credit can be that medium that you can use to make it happen. All right, so that took more than a fair amount of time to do. Let's go ahead and blow through these here. We got about 25 total lots to talk about. Starting out with this very nice looking 1895 Indian head cent. The coin in itself is in tremendous shape. Dare I say it's probably a low-end mint-state coin, like a 61, 62 level. But the reason why that this one is here is actually nothing too incredible, because this is a common anomaly on Indian head cents, especially during the 1880s and 1890s, and even a little bit earlier than that. But this one has clashed eyes. And that is evident by that kind of like semicircle looking thing in front of Lady Liberty's face that you see there, which is the clashing of the O and 1. All right, so that's what that looks like. I would say it's probably like a red-brown. It's got phenomenal details. It does have 4 diamonds right there on the ribbon, which is kind of like a measuring stick of sorts for overall condition at the mid-state level. Okay. So because of the die clashing, I don't think the die clashing is strong enough on this one. I've seen some crazier looking die clashes on Indian head cents. On something like this, I don't think it really mattered too much in the value. It sold for $57.90 with a couple of bids. And I think that's mostly in part just due to the condition of the coin. All right, it is right as rain, a beautiful type piece. The next one that we have here, boy, this thing gets a lot more credit than I personally think it deserves. 1969D. This is a Denver Mint and Lincoln Memorial cent. This is the FS 901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Can't even believe this is still in the Cherry Picker's Guide. It's the missing FG initials reverse, but it also has the floating roof. Okay, so these two things kind of go hand in hand because of the over abrasion of the dies that the U.S. Mint employees actually had done to them, which is simply just a little overzealous polishing. To where, like the little lines that connect the roof to the actual main building of the memorial tend to get rubbed away very easily. And the initials for Frank Gasparo, which normally sits in this area here at the base of the monument, is completely devoid. So we've seen this on other dates, 1970, 1968, a few other dates. The floating roof, again, is one that, kind of has this closet kind of appeal to it. So it does have a little bit of a kind of desirability out there, believe it or not. $30.05 is what this one sold for. Again, it's not the prettiest looking coin. It has circulated, for a little bit. It's still in decent shape. But $30 is what we're looking at for this one on the sale. And if you have others like this, and you're going to find some floating roofs with partial FG on there or with a full FG, to keep in mind, you could still sell it for, however much the market commands. I've seen them sell for as much as like 20, $30 in BU red. So just to let you know, these sell, even if you don't agree with it or you can't get behind the floating roof anomaly on these. You might as well cash in and spend the money elsewhere. That's what I would do. Now, this one, oh man, I love these things. I have still yet to find one for myself, but I haven't really actively been looking either. 2020 Philadelphia minted American Samoa double back quarter is, kind of like what they're referred to. So there's a big, huge, just gnarly strike through right on good old Mama Bat there. Looking like, she doesn't exist in the annals of nature. This is a phenomenal one. We've seen quite a few of these. They aren't particularly rare. They could still be found in circulation today, especially for avid roll hunters of quarters. This is always a big chase, and understandably so. It's a huge money coin. This one right here ended up selling for $404.55. I would say probably one of the bigger sales I've seen of this particular error type in quite a while. It's the perfect placement of a strike through anywhere on the coin. There are a couple others that are a lot bigger than this one, but this one is like right smack dab in the middle of good old Mama Bat's face. And it's a byproduct of what we call field restricted strike through, okay, which is an event that occurs that involves the feeder finger making contact with the top of that reverse die. All right, another banger here too, 2000p. Sacagawea dollar. This is actually a pretty looking coin, but if you look up close, this one also has the dreaded ring of death on the reverse side of it as well. You can see that internal scrape right inside of the rim going all the way around. I thought at first it was like the perfect coin, but it's not. So this one was probably a roll ender in order to receive those scrapes there on the reverse. But let's not forget, the FS 901 Wounded Eagle is an incredibly liquid coin today. They're not particularly cheap if you're a buyer, and if you're a seller, good news is, you can probably sell one and fill up your gas tank. Even in a little mid-sized pickup truck, you'd be doing pretty well filling up your gas tank with the sale of this coin. When we look up close here, this one does indeed have the double die gouge that shows up in this exact spot here, going through the breast feathers and into the wing. The secondary smaller die gouge is very small, and with coins that are pretty well circulated, that will end up disappearing a little bit, just with like gunk and just circulation. So this particular one, even with the damage, did sell for $79.99. So an $80 bill for this one. Weird one here, 1956 D over D repunched mid-mark. And the weird part is just the perspective of the photos. Like, they took a really good obverse photo, but elected to do kind of like this 3/4 kind of like angular kind of photo turn deal on here. So they took the photo at an angle on the reverse, which is odd, especially when you've knocked out the obverse picture. Why would you take a picture any other way? So anyways, it's a decent looking coin, probably a good solid like AU53-ish type grade. I can even see a little bit of mint luster and some of that flash there on the obverse. This one right here is a major repunch mint mark variety. It's one of the strongest ones for the date. $13.83 for the sale here. It's not particularly rare, but at the same time, keep in mind that these are still being scooped up today by variety enthusiasts. 1981p Jefferson nickel, boy, pretty cool one here. This is what we call misaligned dies error. At first glance, just look at the obverse, it looks like an off-center strike. But check out the reverse. It's perfectly centered. So when you have off-center front and then a perfectly struck centered reverse. That's a misaligned dice and not an out of collar, off center or broad strike. This one also suffering, unfortunately, by the ring of death on the reverse. It was a roll ender at one point. This particular one sold for quite an astonishing amount of money, $44.45, with a best offer did get accepted on this one. Oh boy. I guess better to find one like this than to not find one at all. This is the one of the top 5 King of Kings of modern varieties. This is the 1918 over 7 Denver minted Buffalo nickel. Speculatively, I think this one is probably buried in the ground for a while. A hidden gem that at one point, probably when it touched the soil, was worth a few $1,000s. At that time, whenever that is, probably 100 years ago. Today, would it be worth thousands of dollars? Not quite, but at the same time, I wouldn't give this up for the world. It's let's see, when we look up close here, you can see the flat top of the 8, which indicates a top of a 7, and then also the semicircular top loop of the 8, which looks like a crescent moon or just a half a moon rather. That has all of the hallmarks of being the overdate here. $363.94, 25 total bids. So someone really desperately needed a bargain basement coin. This one short of an example that was dipped in acid, like an acid date restoring type method. Unfortunately, this is the floor because some people want to buy this variety with a very distinguishing overdate for around $50 to $100. I know I'm one of those people because at this grade level, it's just like the grade sucks, but if you need it, it's still a wildly expensive coin, even in this condition. So just let it be known that lowball examples with a lot of details type stuff are still quite valuable today. 1997 P Roosevelt dime with what looks to be a detached lamination, which probably at one point was a clamshell. Some will say, well, it looks like a partial plating. It's more of a defective planchet than anything else on this one. But I've seen quite a few of these on Roosevelt dimes and Washington quarters. All right, so they do exist because those are copper nickel clad. They're multi-layered compositions, and this is a real thing that happens on those because it's imperfect. It's an imperfect process of creating these coins. So this one right here, $19.99, represents kind of the floor for these. I've seen them go for as high as $100 to $200, depending on how wildly large the delamination is on a copper nickel clad coin. 1998 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Always good to update you guys on the YDM reverses. They're all referred to as FS 901s, whether it's a 98, 99, or 2000. So this is one of the more common dates, and it's in great shape. Nice kind of like very choice mint state red example. Always good to see. This one has an unmistakable gap in A&M in America on the reverse. So what had happened here was the mint inadvertently used proof dies for the reverses of the business strike coins. And then around the same time, the mint also used business strike reverse dies on their proof coins. So a lot of them had close AMs too, which is another great and very valuable variety, more so than what the 98p business strike one is worth. So this one here, in this condition, high level, $21.99. Again, you don't need to grade these. They're valuable as it sits. If you grade it, you spent $20, $30 on the submission, you're still going to end up with a $20 coin. All right. So, again, that's kind of like, what's at stake, the parallels there of grading a coin that is marginal at best on the market. This is not the first banger that Coins and Cards had sold here in the last 24 to 48 hours, but this is certainly a great looking one. A very tough date too. 1912S, just by its own merit, is on the list as being a key. It's a semi-key, toughie. Any Denver or San Francisco minted Lincoln cent prior to, say, 1916 are all very expensive. And then when you get into grades like AU and probably mid-state kind of low-end kind of grades, they kind of take off from there. Now, this one has some pretty nice die clashing on the reverse, but the seller, Coins and Cards, also mentioned that this is an RPM, which kind of does look like it. I haven't bothered to check out any of the attribution sites to make sure. And this is a great close-up, by the way. So, if you went on Copper Coins or Variety Vista, you could kind of match up some of those pictures. So, I'm sure Coins and Cards did just that. But an RPM on a 12S is quite scarce anyways. We don't see it that much. This particular coin, how about $265 with 32 bids? Again, it's not graded. How much more evidence do I have to share with you guys that grading does not necessarily mean that you're going to end up with more money? It really doesn't. 1964 Roosevelt dime. This is a silver, the last year of the 90 percenters. We got kind of like a weird off-center broad strike here, but in reality, it's a partial tilted collar that's highlighted by that kind of railroaded feature on the edge there. The seller did a great job at displaying this and what it looks like. These are cool, and I think a lot of people do tend to forget that this is a thing out there, especially at much more modern coin strikes. So this one right here, $32.45, which is a really strong sale price for a partial tilted collar. Okay, they usually don't sell for that kind of money, but this is a very good sale. This is a 1972 candy half dollar with a pretty large rim clip on there. You even have the Blakesley effect that's very visible on the obverse right above B&E and Liberty, which is a flattened edge opposite to the clip. Pretty decent shape. I've seen this pop out of rolls on a few occasions. And this one even looks like it has a second clip there right above the Y and Liberty too. A very shallow one at that. $89.95 on the sale. It seems like a lot because it is. And that's really due to the fact that the large denomination coinage with mid-errors are just so much more valuable. They're on a completely different level compared to, say, quarters or nickels and some of the other smaller denominations. 1981 Canada cent. This one looks like off-center, possibly broad strike. It could be either or. This thing had circulated quite a bit. All right, so no one really paid any attention to this coin, and that's unfortunate because it did sell for $25.50 with 11 bids. I think that's in U.S. money too. All right, because I would have remembered if it was a Canadian conversion there on that one. Canadian errors in general is a kind of like it's an untapped market to a lot of the rest of the globe, to the Canadian collector base. These are heavily pursued, even the more minor ones, and they all tend to be a lot more expensive compared to their U.S. counterparts. 1999 Lincoln Memorial Cent, just a really great looking 25% off center strike right here. Don't know if it's a P or D. That area where the mint mark would be is obscured. $29.95, 17 bids on this one. So this is one of the more common dates with an off center strike because they were found in mid-sewn bags back in the day. Connecticut statehood quarter. This one also off-center by a little bit as well. Could be even a broad strike. It's very close. You can see a partial rim there on that thin side. But statehood quarters are very well collected with errors. They've been kind of a thing for a while. $18.99 was the sale price. Someone hit the buy it now button on this one. So it was a static sale, and it would have been a shoe-in. That's a really good fair amount of money for this one. And they all tend to kind of fall in that amount for mild looking off-center strikes. Our first, lot of the day is a lot of 4 Roosevelt dime off-centers. None, unfortunately, with any readable kind of date, and that could really hurt this one. But what do you guys think? How much? $42.36. So it was like 38 and some change, and then with shipping. 7 total bids. All right, the big idea is here is you're going to take each one of these coins and resell them singularly, and hopefully try and double your money. Now, here's the caveat here. Roosevelt dime errors have been doing really good on the market here in the last 60 days. Okay, so if you were going to take this lot, sell each coin for between $20 and $25 a piece, you can actually make that happen just based off of the overall health of this particular denomination in mint error form. All right, so yeah, this one probably is a pretty good one. You might have to sit on your coins for a little while, but they'll probably all end up selling. Pretty minor one here, 1966 Washington quarter, a little bit off-center, nothing too crazy. This one sold for $9.95. 1917D Buffalo nickel, another common occurrence on Buffalo nickels because these had annealing issues back in the day. The British, just a really nice, just large delamination. All right, so the kind of like the impurities in the alloy mix created these type of events that you see here. It looks very much like a zombie Indian type. Depending on how crazy the laminations look, they could certainly look like this, and a lot of people have referred to them as zombies. So this one here, $22.06 with 11 bids. Good sale there. Here you go, 1999 Roosevelt dime. So this is a great example of a off-center struck Roosevelt if you're trying to use that 4-coin lot that we are comparing it to. This one with an actual readable date, so it has a lot more going for it as it sits. This one sold for $40.98 with 10 bids. So that's kind of your differential there. So just assume that maybe one without a readable date would be around $20, and that's going to be kind of like your kind of like barometer check on the pricing of these things. Always a good one here. Fortunately, they are common, and if you wanted one, based off of how dramatic they are, they're not particularly expensive. For people that are selling these, in beautiful mint state condition, they're worth a little bit of money. Good old John Adams, 2007 presidential dollar. This one has the doubled edge lettering. All right, the first year that they implemented the edge lettering on any coin in the U.S. on its edge. So very dramatic, but again, not rare. Probably for every 100 of these that you search through right out of change, probably 2 or 3 of them will have this edge lettering. And this one right here sold for $10. All right, better than a sharp stick in the eye. That's for sure. And this one again is a circulated piece. Okay, I thought this one was pretty cool. 1878 Carson City Morgan dollar, 70-degree clockwise rotation on this one. Okay, follow the pattern of the staples there, and you'll see the rotational error. And this is kind of like one of those things where if you use the 2x2 to take a photo of rotational errors, it actually works out a lot better. So I can imagine that on a on a regular Morgan dollar, a rotational die error is generally a few $100s. On a Carson City, however, this is kind of a game changer. We generally don't see this that often. And in this case, this particular coin sold for $502.99. The coin in itself is probably a good XF45 AU50 as far as grade. So this is a pretty cool error, and you could honestly say that you're one of a few people that actually own a Carson City Morgan with a die rotation error. 1863 Indian head set. This thing is off-center by, 35%, 40%, somewhere around there. Nice high grade example too. Call it, I don't know, XF45. Somewhere around there. You got like 3 diamonds on the ribbon. This one sold for $700. $700 freaking dollars. This is also a white. They call it a white scent, because it's copper nickel. It's the thicker composition too, so that's pretty cool. Here's one I've cherry picked a few times. Always a welcome variety, 1928 with the inverted S variety. Okay, this one is the FS501 cherry picker's guide variety. Check out the coin. Probably a fine 12, fine 15 as far as grade. I'd probably stretch it also to VF20. There's some pretty good rivets there on the shield. But for the inverted S, you're going to have that very thick top trumpet tail of the S, and it's going to be skinny at the bottom. So this one here sold for $95. That seems like a pretty good sale there on that one. And it's funny, I just sold a few of these colorized quarters, and, there was actually one to talk about here on the show. 2003 Philadelphia, Washington, Arkansas State Quarter. This one has a strike through right over the word quarter on the obverse, and that's the big reason why it was sold here in the last day or two. And wow, just incredible. But also as an extra added bonus, there were 19 other coins that the seller was going to add into the mix, as the Arkansas was the main anchor coin for this sale. As you guys know, these are all altered coins, so it's really going to be up to, do I see the artistic merit in these? And they're actually all really nice in person. Is the artistic merit enough for you to justify spending the premium? Okay, considering that they were altered coins. They were sold back, during the release of the Statehood Quarter Series, HSN, CoinVault TV. We're kind of like the people on the forefront that heavily promoted the these type of products. The gold-plated Statehood Quarters as well was another thing that plagued our society 20 years ago. So this one, $66.15. Quite a bit of a premium. Again, kind of anchored around that strike-through error Arkansas is what we had there. Are you guys ready? Because the final coin is going to knock your socks off. Quite possibly, if I had to look back, probably a top 3 most expensive coin I've ever covered on a PCMR. And it's raw. Check this out. 1879 Carson City Morgan dollar. Ungraded. Probably a Mint-State 61, if I had to guess. So it's a Mint-State graded coin, I'm sure. It's raw. So here's kind of like one of those morality questions. It's like this coin is like plenty scarce and expensive enough to where some people are going to say, I would never buy that raw. Right? That's going to be something that a lot of people would say about this coin. Let me go ahead and tell you how much it sold for. $7,451.04. 76 bids. The activity was very, very insane on this one. There was a lot of people just battling it out, duking it out to own this coin, knowing full well that it's ungraded. It could very well be that the coin gets to its new owner, and it might have had a light old cleaning, which is very, very possible. And then that would obviously be, it might be an issue, it may not be an issue. Maybe someone just needs this date at a really nice level to add to their collection, and they possibly don't care that it's not graded. I don't know. But just understand that we're looking at a exorbitantly expensive single key date Morgan dollar, not in a graded holder that's sold for this kind of money. It's just truly, again, remarkable, and we all have to know that these type of transactions exist whether we want to accept them or not. Again, we're living in a world where it's all about coin grading, PCGS, NGC, got to get it done. But keep in mind, that as recently as 40 years ago, it was not a thing. All right. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. My goodness, what a heck of a list. Again, information provided is for educational use, not financial advice, okay, by any means. Please collect and or grade responsibly. But that's it. I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you guys again so much for another banging video. Hopefully this one gave you some inspiration to go out there and hunt away to your heart's content. Find your own treasures and make a name for yourself and your pocketbook and your wallets. But I am out of here, guys. We'll be back on Friday with a Whatnot sale, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come check it out. Bookmark it. And show your support and love for your boy Blue. All right. I'll see you guys later.